Okay, we got an 06 Nissan Murano valve cover gasket leak. You can see got oil on the valve cover and oil's dripping down from the sides and everything. So to get to the valve cover, we have to remove the upper plenum to get to the back side, and we have to remove a couple little parts. So I'll show you what we have to do in the meantime. To remove the upper intake, you have a couple bolts that you have to loosen up. There's a couple hoses that you have taken off, especially off the throttle body. Also, right here, this hose is also a coolant port that's connected to the throttle body intake that has to come off. So you might want to drain the coolant a little bit or put some rags down so coolant doesn't get all over the place. Once you get the bolts out of the intake, there's two hoses that you have to loosen off. Okay, and then the whole intake will be able to come all the way out. After removing the upper intake, now we have access to the back valve cover. So now we can take off both front valve covers and replace the valve cover gaskets. Okay, so we got the valve cover removed off. Sit right here. You see the gasket. I'm gonna get the gasket out. And we're gonna clean off the surface a little bit so it has a better sealing when we put everything back together. Okay, you got the rear valve cover off. I say it's much easier to do than the front one, even though the plenum is in the way. It came off way easier than the front did. The valve cover gasket. As soon as I pull the valve cover gasket, it started lifting up. It's kind of brittle. You can hear it crack. You can see it cracked. See the difference in the valve cover gaskets. This is the new one. You pick it up, you see. So rubbery. And then the new one, stiff. Very stiff. After we got the valve cover off, we cleaned off the surface, so when we put it back on, it'll have a good tight seal. So make sure you do that once you take the valve cover off. Clean off the surface. Now everything's getting put back together. I already got the back put back. But make sure you replace your intake seal too. Upper intake seal. Got the new one. Got both valve covers on. The intake was replaced. Also, when you're removing the valve covers, you have to take off these all control valves because they're going to be in the way if we're removing the valve covers. So this one comes completely off. The one in the back, you can slide off once you get the 3 bolts out. On these, you can actually separate the intake. There's 4 bolts that hold it in place, and there's a gasket. This is the old gasket that came off of it. It's good to replace the gasket if you're taking the whole intake off. So just wipe off the surface area, put the new gasket on, and put the 4 bolts back together. Should be good. Alright, got everything back together. Both valve covers on. Intake is back on. Got the vacuum hoses connected. The job's well done.